On today's episode of Mouse Ears and Magic, we are taking an idea from a Patreon member, Derek, over at Satisfactual Sign Co. He gave us the idea that he wanted to hear more about rides. And he didn't want a technical breakdown. There are podcasts that really go in depth, that they're like engineers and all, right? But he wanted it more from a fan perspective. So that's what we're going to do today. Please join us as we get ready to ride the Tower of Terror. What's up, and welcome to Mouse Ears and Magic. I'm James. There is no hey y'all, it's Sarah. I know today is supposed to be a Women of Disney Day that she started last month, but she is taking online classes. It is May. So that means final projects are due and final exams are due. So she is, just stressed out, pulling her hair out every day. So I told her, don't worry, I'll get it covered. I'll figure something out. And I can always go to one guy. He's always there for me. He's always there for Mark. He is the official co-host, finally, of This DisLife Podcast. Yes. Mr. Duane Willey, what's up, man?
Hello, friends. Hey, how you doing, James? We are definitely not the women of Disney.
Definitely not.
It doesn't take long to look at the two of us and know we are not the women of Disney.
No. Which it is kind of funny, though. I didn't even think about this until just now, Duane. My computer's over here making noise. I don't know why. But I just realized that obviously my wife, Sarah, was the host of the first, the Women of Disney episode. And your wife, Lori, was our guest. So
that's right.
We just
it's a follow-up episode.
Yeah, just switching places, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh man. So just to check in real quick, Amy and Dana are already here. Right. Said Sarah's working hard. You all come in to help out. That's true. And Amy and Dana, they are Patreon members of ours. Katie B, she is here also. And if you're watching live, I've done a poor job of promoting it, but we have the Disney Bunch Patreon edition coming up this evening. So that'll be at 8:00 Eastern time, 7:00 Central time this evening. So make sure to come join us right back here. Apparently Facebook just sent out the notification. I just got a notification. They are slow today.
They're slow today.
That's bad. But anyways, and if you are listening to this on your podcast app or you're watching the replay, come over to the YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/mouseearsandmagicpod, and catch the replay of the Disney Bunch, because I guarantee you we're going to have a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm sure. It's going to be a blast. I'm looking forward to watching.
Yeah, it's always a lot of fun. So, Duane, how are you doing, man? Everything running smooth? You keeping up with Disney Plus? What's going on in your life?
Yeah, all's well. Everything's going good. I've had a nice weekend. The weather's been great. Definitely been keeping up with Disney Plus. This weekend, with no Falcon and Winter Soldier, I was like a little lost there for a second.
Yeah,
and then I realized that I could watch Assembled. So I got to see some of the making of Falcon and Winter Soldier. So I did that.
Nice.
I also continued to watch Game Changers, the Mighty Ducks Game Changers, which I've really enjoyed. I think that's a lot of fun. I'm enjoying seeing kind of Bombay get his return, hopefully, to glory at some point. I've enjoyed that. And then I've been watching Big Shots, too. You got to watch John Stamos.
Yeah.
So
I don't know about you. I am absolutely loving Game Changers and Big Shot.
Yeah, I agree. And I tell you what I've enjoyed. I really think that Disney Plus has done a great job with original content. They're doing really good getting some new shows, original content. And I think it shows, their viewers, they're getting good actors to do the films and to do the shows, and it's been fun. My daughter actually watched. This was the first night that she got to watch Big Shots with me, and so she was like, "Well, this is episode 3." She was like, "You're 2 episodes ahead of me." I was like, "Well, go back and watch them." But she went ahead and watched 3 with me anyhow, and she really enjoyed it. She's 18. She's an athlete, so she thought it was fun. And I think that's part of the good thing is I'm able to watch it with my kids. My son's been watching the Game Changers with me, so that's been fun.
I want to get your take on Big Shot because you've coached girls softball for years.
Right.
I kind of, see where Coach Korn, I kind of understand what he's experiencing because I went from, a football coach, offensive coordinator, very aggressive, very emotional, really into it, really trying to get everything out of the boys that I could, to being the head girls varsity basketball coach.
Yeah,
that's shift. So what's your thoughts? Are things kind of line up with the experiences that you've had?
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely can see that. It's different coaching girls. I've coached boys basketball. I've coached a little bit of everything, boys baseball, softball for the girls. And it's a little different coaching females for lots of reasons. However, I will say this, the girls that I coached were serious about playing the game, which I think you're seeing in this episode. These girls with Big Shots, a lot of them, some of them have college aspirations. Some of them just want to be good and don't want to get beat every week.
Yeah.
And so you see that drive. I mean, my daughter is real drive, real driven and into sports. So it's been a lot of fun. There are a lot of challenges being a girls head coach because there's lots of emotions. There's things you can say to a boy you can't say to a girl.
Right.
So yeah, it's challenging, but it's been fun to watch somebody else go through it on TV.
And Mark says here that Big Shot was good this week. Quarter of the episode hit hard. It did.
Yeah.
It did. And Mary Ann is here. Hey, Mary.
Hey, Mary Ann.
Yeah, I am. I really feel what they're doing with Big Shot. There's things that you have to adjust to as well. I mean, because you've been coaching girls softball for years, right?
Right.
But, I was coming in as a young guy.
Right.
So this was 8 years ago. So that I was 23, 24.
Yeah.
So there's in this time in the day, there's extra eyes. And so, I always made sure either my wife, my assistant coach's wife, or the cheerleading coach was, at practice at all times. There's steps that I took because my assistant coach was a male also. Yeah. So, we had to do things like that, but it definitely was an adjustment because like you said, you can't be as, you gotta talk a little different.
You do. Yeah.
You gotta be a little more careful and you just don't want to be as harsh.
Yeah. And they want to be challenged, but you still have to, you have to talk to them a little bit differently. I've had some really good assistant coaches. At one point I was a gym teacher. But I've had some really good assistant coaches, some really good female assistant coaches who have gone on to be head coaches. My daughter has a couple of female coaches that have been instrumental in her life.
Yeah.
So I think there's a good balance there to have, obviously, which is just wisdom, having, ladies around if you're coaching girls sports, but they can also speak the things that you don't always understand. And I've had some female coaches that were part of my staff help me understand that, because for me, even though I have a daughter, I was learning these things for the first time as a coach and a father because she's my oldest.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I did it with another daughter before, so it's an interesting challenge. I have enjoyed seeing how John Stamos has learned to adjust to coaching. And now, not spoiler alert, but also maybe some adjustments as a dad.
Yep.
And then the heart of the girls kind of turn towards him a little bit. I thought that's been good. I'm a little concerned about this interview process that was going on this past week. Yeah. As to what may happen from that. I'm not looking forward to that. Yeah. I feel like that could have been a little fishy. Again, spoiler alert.
Right. Brad from 8-Bit Vacations YouTube channel is here. What's up, pal? Piano Rob says, I got to try this Stamos show. Dude, you got to get into Big Shot. It's good stuff. I'm telling you. You know, and I got to tell this story real quick. Sarah would be disappointed if I didn't. So just to give an example of how I was as a football coach, she would sit in the front row of the stands and she would pick out 2 freshmen. She would have one that was on clipboard duty and one that was on visor duty, because it was guaranteed that multiple times clipboard visor was going flying. I was going to need a new clipboard at some point. You know, I've broken my clipboard. So, you know, if the clipboard was broken, kid would grab it up, take it over to Sarah, and she would give him a new one to bring to me. You know, same thing with the visor. You know, if I threw the visor once, she took it from me. I couldn't have it again.
Yeah.
You know, it was my punishment. But you know, that's just how it goes. And then, yeah, I mean, you know, you had to tame it back. And I've got to tell you some stories about the basketball stuff offline. It's not a place for here. I might do a stream for our Patreons.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, we can do that.
So that'll be fun. Rob says I like the name of it already. Rob is a big shot.
He is big shot. He's a baller.
Oh, Amy hasn't seen it either. My goodness. And Esther says she was on the basketball team.
She was. Yeah, I coached girls basketball a couple years, but mostly boys and then girls softball.
Yep. All right, Duane. So I talked about it a little bit in the intro. Today we're going to dive in Tower of Terror. Derek from Satisfactual Sign Co. You can check it out here. You know, you can see the Splash Mountain sign kind of. I've got to get a light on it, man.
Yeah.
I got to get a better light on it. But he was telling me, we was texting the other day, and he's like, you know, I wish there was a podcast where there were, you know, where they talked about rides more. You know, I feel like that's missing in the podcast world. And one of my original goals that I wanted to do with our podcast was talk about history. You know, I wanted to do 2 shows a week, one that's like what we usually do, and then do another one that is, you know, more history and maybe help people appreciate some of the smaller things and the work that went into you know, all the things at Disney. So I love the idea, and I'm like, man, let's do it. So we're going to start. This is going to be a bi-weekly show. This week is dropping on Monday. It's going to be our regular podcast. In the future, it's going to be a bonus show that will drop on Thursdays. So nice. I'm really excited about it. And we're going to just kind of run through rides. We're going to have different people on. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
I agree.
So you chose Tower of Terror this week.
I did. I felt like, you know, we talked about Expedition Everest. Everybody knows that I love Everest. I felt like we had a little bit of Expedition Everest overload. So I wanted to go to another one of my favorite rides. So I felt like the Tower of Terror is a great ride. So much fun. I have tons of great memories of riding it. And I love it. I love the theming. I love the actual structure itself. I love the ride. And to me, it's definitely, in my opinion, it's one of the top 5 rides in all of Disney World. So
yes, most definitely.
I really enjoy it. I'm looking forward to talking about it today.
Yeah. And before we continue to get into it, let's take care of a little business, man. Mouse Ears and Magic is brought to you by Enchanting Escapes by Lori. Lori is here to help you plan your next getaway and create memories that will last a lifetime. No matter where you want to go, whether Disney, Universal, Sandals, or another amazing destination, Lori can help you get there. Leave all the details to Lori and enjoy the beauty of the destination without the hassle of the planning. Lori's services are at no additional charge. You heard me right, no additional charge. So head over to www.enchantingescapesbylori.com and get a free quote today. While you're there, take advantage of resort walking tour videos, blogs, free downloads, and Magic Maker recipe videos to keep the magic alive in your house throughout the year. That's www.enchantingescapesbylori.com. Again, that is www.enchantingescapesbylori.com. So many great things over on her website, Duane. Y'all have done a fantastic job. Doing all the little extra stuff, the recipes and all the videos. a lot of fun to be had over there, and it gets no more fun than getting that next Disney trip in the books.
I hear that. And I'm so proud of Lori and all the stuff she does. I know I talk about her a lot, but I'm super proud of just the magic that she can create. You and I were talking earlier today, just a shameless plug here. She put out a TikTok video today that has done really great. And just told her, I said, babe, consistency is really helping. Mm-hmm. I said, but it's just fun to do. It's fun to do it together. Her and I really do all of our Disney life together. So, it's been fun. Yeah. I told Amy and Dana, I started my walking.
Yes.
So.
Yes. And they're doing again this week. So, and what they're talking about. So for those of you who are interested, Dana is hosting a Couch to 5K on their channel. So you can go find them on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, and they're streaming to all 3 platforms, and they're doing Couch to 5Ks. So go check it out. And KDB says Lori is amazing. 100% correct.
Thank you, Katie.
All right, Duane, let's go ahead and kick this off.
Yeah, let's do it.
I feel like Tower of Terror there's so much going on there. I know we're not going to be able to get to everything in 45 minutes.
Right.
We're going to do our best, and it might have to be a part 2. I don't know. But I want to start off with the Imagineers, because the Imagineers, the 3 main ones we had 4 people who were really involved with getting things off the ground. And we had Marty Sklar, who is head of Walt Disney Imagination or Imagineering. Everybody knows Marty Sklar. He's a legend. Right. Had his hands in pretty much everything, right? You also had C. McNair Wilson, who was heading up the Tower of Terror project, and along with Michael Eisner, and they brought in Mel Brooks to help.
Yeah, which is really cool.
Yeah, it is. And, it's like Mel Brooks, man, like he's an actor. Why would they do that? Well, that was kind of Michael Eisner's way of getting Mel Brooks, wanting to collaborate with him, because he was wanting to bring Mel Brooks into Disney to start doing film work and everything with Disney. And what better way to do than helping him open up Disney's MGM Studios at the time, which we all now know as Hollywood Studios.
Yeah. Very cool.
So, Duane, I'll let you take it from here. Opening day.
Yep.
It's fitting, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Opening day for the Tower of Terror was July 22nd, 1994. It's actually the day that they opened that entire Sunset Boulevard.
Right.
Opened that day. And so it was, gosh, that's coming up on, what is that? Almost 27 years.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to believe that it's been that long, because, I've been going to Disney, my whole life, really. And so I remember when MGM Studios opened, and then I remember, being in Disney real soon after the Tower of Terror opened. Mm-hmm. And I think something interesting with the Tower of Terror, we didn't talk about this, but I think the first time you ride it, the anxiety level is so high, because you don't know what to expect, especially for somebody like us who maybe rode it long before there were POVs everywhere, where you could go and watch the ride ahead of time, so you knew what was going to happen and the whole 9 yards. For my first time, I walked in there. All I know is that it's a free fall ride.
Right.
I don't know what to expect. You walk in. Back then, of course, we had the pre-show, which I really do miss. And I'm looking forward to the day that returns, because I think the pre-shows are a lot of fun. They help the build up. But just going in there, and all that anxiety gets built up. And then I think that first time is like, and I know for me, it was like, whoa, and then once you've ridden it, you're like, okay, now I need to do it again. And then, over the years, it's changed, because initially it was a single drop, and then they turned it into a 2 drop.
Mm-hmm.
Then they turned it into a 3 drop. And then they turned it into what it is today, which is random, which I really love.
Yes.
There he is. Derek's here.
Satisfactual Sign Co. He says here, Never fear. I am here. Kind of. I would bet money that he's busy painting right now.
He's probably working. He's listening and working all at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think it's neat how it has evolved as a ride.
Yes.
To today where it's random. And, there's so many things that we can talk about. I think, initially in 1994, which most people know this, in 1994, it was the tallest ride in all of Disney World.
Yes, at 199 feet.
199 feet. And I said was.
Yes, was. That made it taller than Cinderella's castle. This is what Marty Sklar wanted. He wanted the tallest in the parks, in the property. And at 200 feet, if you don't know, you have to have that red blinking light. Mm-hmm. Now, Walt never wanted that. Nobody in Disney ever wanted that because they feel that takes away from the immersive feeling that you get. If you see that red blinking light, that kind of puts you back in the real world. So right. they keep it under 200 feet. Now, like Duane said, So Duane, right. What took the cake?
Yeah. So you know how we're all competitive in life, and I would assume the Imagineers are just the same way. So, the Imagineers at Expedition Everest, they were going back and forth, and they built their ride. You and I had this discussion earlier, and they actually built the ride at 199 feet. So they were the same, and then there was some ribbon. You couldn't do higher than us, and this, that, and the other. And so Expedition Everest, the Imagineering team says, "Oh yeah, watch this." Yeah. And they put a little additional. What was it? You said it's actually like a bar.
Yeah. So what happened was when they were completely done with Expedition Everest, they get the final measurements, 199 feet, exactly the exact same height as Tower of Terror. Joe Rohde said, "No, sir, this ain't going to work." He had somebody climb up on the top of Everest and weld on a 6-inch piece of rebar to make it 199.5.
Right.
And that story's always cracked me up. Always. Because it's like, it's going to be tough to beat.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Rob's comment here, that's something we were going to talk about as well.
Yep.
There was a lot of things that were interesting when they built the Tower of Terror. I watched and did some research today because we were talking about this, and there was a couple of hotels in California, that were that time period, of the Tower of Terror. So they wanted them to look that time period, but then also the color is that color, and it has that feel and I think you've got a photo of it from Epcot, Morocco. Backs up to, and there it is. There's the photo. Morocco is kind of Tower of Terror is behind it. So that same facade of Tower of Terror is not an eyesore when you're in Morocco or in the World Showcase looking across. I think that's super interesting that they had the forethought to be able to do that.
Yes.
And, to know, hey, our sight lines need to be right. And I just love that about Disney, that they want you to live inside that Disney bubble and nothing take you out of it, which is something I really love. We've talked about this on other shows and other times. I personally, when I go to Disney, it's mental health. Rob has talked quite a few times about mental health. And for me, it's a mental health vacation.
Yes.
And so I like to live inside that bubble. I don't want to think about work. I don't want to think about emails or sales or proposals or anything. I want to just live in that. So the fact that they took those extra steps to help keep you in the bubble, I think is amazing. I love that.
Yeah. And the hotels that you were referring to were two of the main ones. They were in Southern California, but two of the main ones was the Biltmore Hotel and the Mission Inn.
Yeah, the Biltmore, specifically the lobby of the Biltmore and the main entrance area is the Tower of Terror is completely a mimic of it. Yep. Right down to there's a center section of the Biltmore. Now theirs is a fountain, and they didn't put the fountain in the Tower of Terror, but there's a octagon or hexagon shaped planter in the center there, and it has a lot of the same look as that fountain. They wanted that feel, that authenticity, which is something I love that. I mean, they want you to feel like you're there. The luggage, that's being shown all around in there where people, had sat their luggage down before the lightning strike, is luggage. Most of it was like alligator skin luggage, which is something you would have seen, back in the 30s. Just the little touches to me are the amazing things.
And Samantha Lowe from the Samantha Lowe YouTube channel is in the chat. Hey Sam, thank you so much. Matt saying I agree. That's why he goes too, is for that mental health.
Yeah, absolutely.
And here's a couple things that really kind of blew my mind, because Twilight Zone was not a Disney owned property. It was CBS, I believe. And
I think it was, yeah.
So Disney had to buy the rights from CBS. The Disney Imagineers sat down. They watched 156 episodes of Tower of Terror multiple times, like some of them 3 to 4 times each.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't imagine doing that. I'm sorry. I would be bored to death.
That's research right there.
Yeah.
That is some serious, and it's a commitment. It's a commitment to really even to the Twilight Zone, show itself. It's a commitment to it. And so many people, you guys can do some research on this yourself, but there are a ton of Easter eggs throughout the Tower of Terror that throw back to the Twilight Zone. Tons of them.
Yeah, and a lot of them you can find in the library in the queue where you watch the video. Those are all props from the show.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's props from the show, actually throughout the ride. And there's throwbacks. Even, at the end, we're going to talk about that later. There's a prop near the end of the ride that came from one of the shows. And there's signs and there's all kinds of different things, which to me just really, again, it puts you in the ride. And I think that's what Disney does better than anybody else. Is it's not an amusement park. It's a theme park. And you say, well, what's the difference? Well, amusements is just that. That's we can ride the carousel, you can ride the zipper, you can ride the whatever, Himalaya, all those kinds of things. You can do that at the beach. They're rides, but in Disney World, it's a theme park because everything is themed and it's so well themed. And that's, I think, some of my favorite rides. Obviously, Everest has a distinct theme, but Tower of Terror has one of the most amazing themes and cues. And that's one of the reasons that I don't ever want to see the Tower of Terror redone. I know they did in California, and I think that was smart. I think it was great from what I hear, and I can't wait to ride. The Guardians of the Galaxy ride is an amazing ride, and I'm looking forward to riding it. I saw Brian Lee's here. I think he's ridden it before, that Guardians of the Galaxy ride, and I hear it's amazing. But we don't need to change our Tower of Terror to that, because next year, or hopefully at least by 2022, we're going to have a Guardians ride in Epcot. And I want to see them keep this ride with this theming because it's just amazing. I agree, Derek. Don't redo it.
Derek's agreeing here. One of the really cool things for me was, so in the lobby, a lot of the furniture and everything, it's actual antiques that they bought from an auction house or multiple auction houses in Los Angeles. But one really cool thing is, that big sculpture of the eagle, right? It has all the cobwebs and everything over it. So that is an actual sculpture. It's a piece of work from 19th century sculpture, Augusta Moreau, I believe is how you say it. I'm pretty sure that's French, but I should have looked him up. But I think that's really cool that they went into that much detail, and pretty much all the dust and everything you see is real, just like in the Haunted Mansion.
Yeah, they and I didn't today, but they periodically clean that up. They clean it up, and then there's something that they spray And then it allows, to believe it or not, over time, dust, whatever they spray, collects to that dust.
Yeah.
And, and the dust collects to it. And then, so it's real looking continually, even though they do clean. Somebody says, oh, it's filthy. You have not cleaned it in 27 years. No, they clean it. It just gets redone. And it's so neat. I think it's so cool too. We could talk about some of the hidden Mickeys. I know you found several hidden Mickeys within the queue that are really cool.
One of my favorite ones, and I know this one because of Mark Daniel. He had told me about it. I wouldn't have thought, I was that guy that thought the hidden Mickeys had to be the traditional, 3 circles, right?
Right.
Well, in the library, if you're watching live or watching the replay, you see it here. There is a place in the library where there's a trumpet and there's some sheet music under it, and it says, "What?" The title of the song is "What? No Mickey Mouse." The word Mickey Mouse there is considered a hidden Mickey.
Right.
I thought that was really cool. It's unique, right? But there are many, and I mean many, hidden Mickeys throughout Tower of Terror. So I had to get a list here, so I remember them all. So pre-show video has one. You have the little girl there. She's holding the Mickey Mouse doll.
Right.
You also see her in the ride as a ghost, where she's still holding the Mickey Mouse doll. So that counts as 2. Let's see. I already talked about the sheet music. After you exit the library, if you look up about 8 feet off the ground, you will see a water-stained hidden Mickey. It's one that we're used to seeing as hidden Mickeys, looking for the 3 circles. And finally, the last one that I have here is as you are about to drop in the elevator on the 13th floor, there are stars that begin to disappear just before the door opens and you enter the elevator shaft, and it's the perfect hidden Mickey that appears. But it's just for a split second that it shows up.
Yeah. You almost have to slow a video down to see it almost.
Yeah.
It's super cool. And again, it's little things that they hide throughout the attractions and the queues that allow us to stay engaged. I love that. Yeah. Let's see. What is Derek saying here?
He says, I'm figuring they'll take it and make it an IP based ride. If they do, my fingers are crossed for it to become an up drop house.
I don't want to see it changed. Yeah. It's a hot glue gun. That's what I thought. Yeah. And then everything sticks to it. Yeah. I don't want to see this ride ever rethemed. There's so many fun little things they did. There's another thing that we found out. I mean, James and I did some research on this thing because we both love the ride, but we wanted to kind of know what we were talking about. We see a lot of the things, and I can tell you, I've seen a lot of these things and still didn't remember even some of the things that I had seen. One of the things I found super interesting, AAA always rates their hotels. Well, this is the Hollywood Hotel, and this one got a 13 diamond rating. Of course, we know AAA only goes to 5 diamonds, but obviously the number 13 is that evil sort of number that we see one time over and over and over again, actually, in this ride. When you talk about that number 13, you have the 13 diamond rating. Usually first thing in the morning before anybody's gotten on the ride will show a 13-minute wait. Kind of like if you're there at rope drop or before, or in a after hours or before hours kind of thing. We don't see it that short very often, but once in a while you can see that. I've seen that before. Of course, we know it's a 13-story drop, which when you think of it, I mean, that's a 130-foot drop, that's a right good drop. And I was watching a video earlier today about the drop, and they said that drop itself, even though you would drop 13 stories, 130 feet, that wouldn't be fast enough, that drop, to give you that thrill that they really wanted. So it's actually on a cable and it's pulled down at a faster rate and speed to give you that feeling of weightlessness where you lift right up out of your seat. And so, it gives you that thrill, but by the same token, you're so safe. Another thing that I saw that I think I knew that I just didn't really think about was, you're in the ride vehicle, you get in the elevator, you're in a ride vehicle. That vehicle, when you go up, goes through that little area where the clock is and all those things.
Mhm.
And then you go into the shaft there where you're going to be dropped. The elevator itself is not actually what's dropping. I mean, obviously it is,
Mhm.
but the entire shaft that you have driven into is what is dropping up and down. And again, so it's super safe, but yet it gives you just extreme, thrills. I know some people will not ride it, don't want to ride it, are scared to look at it, have ridden it, won't do it again. I know lots of people like that.
Mhm.
But yet, I have a mother who, well, I won't give her age, but I'm 50 and she's
Your
my mom. So she was just there. She rides it with me anytime that I was ever there, since it was up. So, there's lots of people that love it. I have a brother-in-law. Actually, I have a couple brother-in-laws. One of them loves it. One of them not so much. So,
Yeah.
I get that. But Derek's got good information here. Yeah.
I love the ride vehicle concept. It's just unexpected. Most people think you're just going up and dropping. So people get so scared when it moves out for the first time they ride. And I love that. That's something that, and I've heard the story about it. So I'm not going to remember verbatim or anything, but it was one of the Imagineers was talking that they wanted to, they actually talked to Walt about this ride idea. That they wanted something where you came out on a track and then it dropped. And he's like, well, make it happen. Obviously, it took some time to make, but it is just, you don't find that anywhere else, except for a Disney property, but it does give it a different thrill to it. Like Derek was saying, that, you don't expect to go out and then start dropping. I think probably one of my favorite things on the ride though is when you go all the way to the top and you can see out over the parking lot and everything.
I was just thinking that same thing. I think that adds to the thrill because when you go up to the top and they open the doors, you can see out.
You realize how high.
Exactly. Now we're 13 stories, there, but the thing is, the ride itself is built up on a hill.
Yeah.
So you look so much higher than everything else in the park and you can see out over everything. And I think that just adds to that thrill, or for some people, the anxiety of it.
Yep.
And I also love, we talked about it, the varying, whether it goes up first or whether it goes down first. For some reason, I always have enjoyed when it goes up first. I think that's so fun. You get in, everybody's expecting it to drop, and it shoots you straight up.
Yeah.
I love that. We went on our trip in February. We did this ride, and I know we've got pictures of it. It was me and Lori and Tina Joy and Mark and Alicia and Brian Lee and John Henson, and that's all of us there, the 7 of us on that back row, and we had the best ride. Mark and I were talking about it. Pretty sure we got 3 full 13-story drops in that one ride.
Yeah.
Plus all the little short drops. It was a great ride. It was so much fun. I think it's so much fun too that all of us have ridden it enough. Not all of us, but the guys, you, me, Mark, we've ridden it enough that we know where the photos is.
Yeah.
We know where that is, so we can get some fun photos, taking some pictures with funny faces and different things like that. I think that's fun.
All right. So Duane, you sent me this picture. I want you to talk about it.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I'm going to call him Benson. He looks like Benson from Toy Story 4.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right. This character, his name is Caesar. And Caesar comes from an episode in the Twilight Zone. And obviously it's a ventriloquist dummy. And this character, obviously, you can tell by looking at it, it's a creepy looking character. And the last time we were there, actually in November, I didn't know this until right before my November trip. And I've been on Tower of Terror so many times. That ventriloquist dummy, Caesar, is down when the ride is over and you come down to the bottom and you're getting ready to get out. Before the ride turns, I think it's to the left. It's on the one where if you're sitting there, you turn left to get out.
Okay.
When you come down, all the way down, before you turn, if you look over to your, my right, if you look to your right, he is sitting on the ledge there, and he is creepy looking. And he's sitting there, and then you turn, you go out. The folklore of that character, and that his name is Caesar, is that all the people that work on the Tower of Terror, when they come in the mornings, they have to say good morning to Caesar. They have to say hi. They have to say hello to him at the end of the night. And the myth or the rumor is that if they don't, that day is usually full of problems, that there's breakdowns, that there's all kinds of things, that he's playing havoc with the ride, which I think is, again, a really fun storyline, a folklore, an interesting little story to go along with the ride.
Yeah. And there's also another, I have not been able to confirm this, but I've heard many people talk about it. I'm going to label it a myth, because again, I haven't been able to confirm it, but at times you will see cast members for Tower of Terror who are in the bellhop uniforms and everything standing outside of the queue, and they will be standing there with luggage. If you walk up to those cast members and you say, "Thank you so much, you found my luggage," or "Hey, is that my luggage? I lost it." Most of the time, if you do that, they will take you back. You get, right up to the front of the line, and you get a little extra pixie dust.
Oh yeah, little extra magic.
Yeah,
cool.
So
it's worth a try, right?
Yeah, if you ever see them standing out there with luggage, go thank them for finding your luggage and see what happens. One thing that I found in the queue was this sign, and it was kind of hidden. It was down there with there was like a toolbox. I know, Duane, the picture I sent you, you could see it better where it had a hammer and some pliers and all below this sign. Yeah. But the sign says, and I just love this saying so much because it's so true, and it's not something that I expected to see in Tower of Terror. But it says, it's easy enough to be pleasant when life hums along like a song. But the man worthwhile is the man who can smile when everything goes dead wrong. I love that saying. I love that quote.
Very cool. Very neat.
So I showed your picture from y'all's trip in February, where y'all took up the whole back row. Yeah. Here is Jameson's first time riding Tower of Terror. Not scared at all, right? Doesn't look scared. You can see us here in the bottom left-hand corner, I believe is how it's showing. And I'm looking at him. I've got my arm around him. Again, it's his first time, right? He did great. Except this happened, Duane. If you're watching live, you're looking at a picture of my Apple Watch. He didn't hit me. He didn't squeeze my watch. No, he squeezed my arm, Duane, right here above where my watch would be. He squeezed it so tight that it ended up making he had both hands on each side of my watch, squeezed it so tight, ended up popping the face off my Apple Watch.
That's crazy.
I don't know how he did that. But
superhuman strength.
That's one of those memories that we will always be there. It's going to last forever.
Yeah.
And I love it.
So fun.
It's just so funny though. And he is obsessed with the ride. It's one of his favorites. He can never decide. He's wishy-washy, Duane. He's either Expedition Everest or Tower of Terror.
Yeah, I think he's told me both at times, so I can confirm that.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Nathan, he just joined us here in the chat. Let's see. Katie says, I love seeing up at the top when doors open and you can see everything. It's my favorite part as well.
Yeah.
So we've got about 10 minutes. So Patreon members, if you would like to call in, the lines are open. If you want to call in and give us your favorite memories, Come on in. So Duane, you got any other stories, any other memories? I know you was there for the 20th anniversary.
Yeah, I was there for the 20th anniversary of the ride, and which was 2014. I didn't bring it with me. I should have looked for it, but I have a 20th anniversary t-shirt. Mm-hmm. It's actually in the promotional video. I'm wearing it in the video that you did for Lori. And it's just a gray t-shirt and it has, 20th anniversary Tower of Terror. So I love the ride. I love that shirt. One thing I did want to mention that we hadn't gotten to before one of our Patreons call, when you first get in the ride vehicle, there's an inspection certificate on the wall.
Oh, yes.
And on that wall, this inspection certificate, the number on the inspection certificate is 10259. And that's 10259, which is October the 2nd, 1959, which was the premiere episode of the Twilight Zone. Mm-hmm. So it's a little nod to the Twilight Zone. And then on that same inspection, the day it was signed, that was the inspection number, but the date that it was signed was 10/31 of 1939, which, if you know the story of the Tower of Terror, that's the day that the Hollywood Hotel was struck by lightning. That's the day it was inspected. It was struck by lightning. And the person who signed it, I thought this was another little fun nod to Twilight Zone. The person who signed it, his last name was Coldwalder. And Coldwalder was in an episode of the Twilight Zone called The Escape Clause. Mm. And in that episode, he played the character Coldwalder, who turns out to be the devil. So I thought that was pretty interesting. They had that little nod there to the show with the number that corresponded with the date that corresponds with the lightning strike, and then the devil there as who signed the inspection certificate. Again, just little extras that are there for us to try to find, which I love.
Yeah, exactly. And it's also, we didn't even mention what date that what the day is that you're experiencing.
Yeah,
while you're in Tower of Terror.
Right. Yeah, that's the October the 31st, 1939, right?
Yes.
The day
back in time for that one, don't we?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a couple years before me.
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding. And it I don't know, man. It's just, it bothers me. I mean, we're going 1939. There's signs saying, elevator out of service. It gives you an uneasy feeling.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah.
But,
absolutely. Yeah.
All right. So, Duane, do you have anything else you want to share?
Well, as far as the ride's concerned, let's just talk about it for just a second. This ride is fun. The queue is amazing. It's fun for kids. It's fun for adults. And I know, they were talking before, Rob and Derek were talking about how it used to be, a lap bar. It is a seatbelt, so it's completely safe. That seatbelt locks. It's tight. It's fun. You're in a caged environment there. Plus, it's Disney. Disney's going to make sure you're safe. But yeah, exactly, Amy and Dana. That anticipation is what really gets you going. And this is really one of those rides that, no matter how many times you ride it, it's always a little bit different. My dad, he's the chicken. My mom rides it. Dad, not so much.
Come on, Dad.
But it's just a fun ride. It's a blast. I don't know if you've got that other picture I sent you from 2007. Do you have that picture in there by any chance?
No, but if you give me just a second,
I'll tell everybody about it. In 2007, I've talked about this a couple times. My wife and I, my parents, our kids, my sister-in-law, or my sister and my brother-in-law, we all went on a big family trip. And this one day, my parents said, okay, we're going to stay at the hotel with all the grandkids. We're going to let them swim and have their day. And they let Lori and I and my sister and her husband, Jeff and Jana, the four of us went. So yeah, on the front row there to the left-hand side, that's me, Lori, Jana, and Jeff. And that was in 2007, and we had so much fun. You can see the four of us on that front row. We laughed and rode that ride. On that day, this was an epic day for us. we did not ride anything in the park other than Rock and Roller Coaster and Tower of Terror all day long. And we shut the park down that way. We didn't ride anything else all day long. And we just keep riding one, and then we go to the other, and we'd ride it. Then we go back and forth. And we even ate like at the restaurant, the little quick service that was right there. I mean, we never left Sunset Boulevard. Came in, took a right. We're there all day long. So, memories for me of that ride, like I said, I have so many. I've ridden it with my mom. I've ridden it with my kids. I've ridden it with my sister and her husband, the trip with Mark and everybody else. My aunt and uncle, my mom's sister, and her husband, they're Disney cast members. And I've ridden it with them. And it's just one of those, it's almost like a rite of passage. I feel like, that you have to ride it, at least once. You have to ride it.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Most definitely.
Yeah.
All right. So before we head out, I have to give a quick thank you to our amazing Patreons. We couldn't do this show without our incredible Patreon members helping us continue to improve and keep the show going. Thank you so much, Chase Ross, Abby Underwood, Christina Hall, Amy and Dana from the Run Eat Drink podcast, Derek from Satisfactual Sign Co, KDB, Allison Crouch, and Lisa from Custom Boutique by Lisa. If you would like to join this amazing crew, you can at www.patreon.com/mouseearsandmagicpot. Yeah, we have some incredible Patreon members, and I haven't I did update it. I forgot to upload it on here, but we also got Elizabeth C. She joined our Patreon last Sunday or Monday.
That's excellent.
So yeah, our Patreon is constantly growing. In the future with this show, this is going to be live streamed for Patreon members only. So when we do the writing through Disney shows, they will be live streamed only for our Patreon members. We will continue to do our typical Sunday show at 5 p.m. for everybody else, but this will be Patreons only, just to give them a little bonus content, that they can get ahead of time, and where they can just chat with us one-on-one. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. We're also going to be adding a lot more behind the scenes stuff for our Patreon members and get them some exclusive content as well. So really, really excited for that. And again, if you're watching live, be sure to join us here in just a couple hours as we have the Disney Bunch Patreon edition. It's going to be a ton of fun. We've got Lisa from Custom Boutique by Lisa is going to join us. Derek from Satisfactual Sign Co. Chase from Chasing Florida YouTube channel. KDB is going to jump on with us. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited. So
yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a good time.
So Duane, do you have anything else that you want to talk about?
I don't. I tell you, I'll just say this. If you guys are listening, continue to support James and Sarah and everything they're doing. I know these guys, and they are good people. I think the world of James. We talk on a regular basis. It's probably more. It would be uncommon for us to not talk pretty much every day.
Yep.
We talk, whether it's early morning or late at night, kind of around James's work schedule. And they're just good people. They're fun. They have a heart for Disney. They have a heart for people, and they love the podcast. They love to bring you guys the magic. They love the parks. And to me, finding people like James and Sarah, or like Mark, or all of our, Amy and Dana, and all these different people, has truly been a blessing to me. And I'm thankful to have these friends. So, I encourage you guys, if you want to become a Patreon member, please support James and Sarah. They're great people, and you won't regret it.
Stop, Duane. You won't make me start tearing up here in just a minute. And I just realized that I had a brain fart earlier. I never hooked StreamYard up. We started a Twitter account. Just the other day I started one. So if you're a Twitter person, go follow us on Twitter. It's at @mouseears_magic. You can follow us on Twitter. We'll start trying to run the live streams on there if I can remember. New things messes me up.
No, that's it.
Yeah. Follow us on Facebook, Mouse Ears and Magic Podcast, Instagram, Mouse Ears and Magic Pod with an underscore in between each word, youtube.com/Mouse Ears and Magic Pod. Join the Facebook group, facebook.com/group/This DisLife. That's This, THIS, Dis, DIS, Life, LIFE. And come join the fun over there. And the group has been growing. There's so much activity going on in the group. I can't keep up with it. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know how you do it, Duane. You are on the ball all the time with it. So props to you there. We're about to have a visitor pop in here. There he is. Anyway,
big fella.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, go subscribe, like and share everything. Help us grow. If you have iTunes or an Apple device, go to Apple Podcast and leave us a 5-star rating and review on there. Got a very, very special rating from Miss Figgy, Mark Daniel's fiance, that I posted online the other day. It was a rough week last week, and seeing those words that she said, man, that just turned everything around. It was amazing.
Yep.
So,
I'll say this. I said this to a bunch of people today. This is something that I kind of have been trying to live my life by, and I'll just say this kind of in closing, but in a world where you can be anything, be kind. Be kind.
That is it. Be kind. Jameson, you got any final words you want to throw in there?
I don't know what you're saying.
You got a haircut. Yeah. Oh, that Mr. Cowlick. Doggone it. He's got the same cowlick I always had when I was young. The same woman cut my hair for years, Duane, and she retired, and I'm terrified to go to anybody else because they don't know what they're doing. So, first world problems, I guess.
Right.
So, Duane, thank you so much, man, for hopping in here. I know it was last minute. We had to get some research done real quick, but your dedication, man, and your friendship means the world to me.
Thank you.
I will never be able to show that. And, this kid, I can't do nothing with it. Oh, man. If it's not Sarah messing me up, it's him. Go figure, right?
Right.
All right. So, everybody, thank you so much. Go check out Duane over on This DisLife Podcast with Mark Valentine. They've been putting out a lot of great content. They've got a show with Amy and Dana coming up. You got one. Oh man, y'all got a bunch that you've already recorded coming up.
Yeah, we got one in a couple weeks. Actually, with my brother-in-law Jeff Marshall.
Yeah,
he did a review on the Riviera Resort, and we're looking forward to that one too. So yeah, and Amy and Dana this week. So be looking for that on Wednesday. You'll be able to hear the podcast version of the Foodie Awards, which is really going to be great.
Yes. All right. So Jameson is going to dance us out of here. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning us in. For Thanks, Duane, this little turd right here, Jameson, and the missing Sarah, I'm James. We'll be talking to you real soon.